Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
First of all, I'd like to say thanks to the Almighty God who has given us a good occasion so we can gather here to fulfill our daily routine agenda in the weekly seminar forums. As usual, there are two speakers who would like to present the presentations, but fortunately, I myself, as the first one, is Muhammad Asman Stuart. Today, the title that I'm going to deliver about my presentations is related with exploring Indonesian EFL teacher strategy in teaching English to young learners. Okay, we are going to continue for the further questions. To make us getting fully understanding, I always make a concept, especially in all my presentations. The first one is related about the introductions, and then the problems, research case, and also the research novelty here. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, in the background of the study, we are fully knowing that teaching is about the process from connections with the teaching and learning purposes. So here, I emphasize to you that teaching strategy is the basic foundations of teachers who are going to teach the students to inform, to convey, or even deliver the lesson through the concept. But unfortunately, the teaching strategy cannot connect with the students, cannot connect with the situations of the learners, because the teachers, most of the teachers do not appropriate the good concept in their teaching and learning process, namely approach or also the method or even what it is. The method and the approach is used to get the learning objective in the classes. Therefore, according to Colombo 2012, the approach is in giving learning material to students through a specific learning environment and comprehensive strategy, identity design, diversity, and the arrangement of activities that communicate learning ability to students is referred to as a teaching strategy. So from this above, the background of the studies here, I emphasize the first one. It is about the teaching strategy. Dikatakan teaching strategy here purpose-nya adalah have a good strong connections to teachers and also to the students to develop the good situations in the learning process in the classroom. But for the real fact, teachers is always not making a good concept, a good method, or even the approach as the basic conditions in delivering information for the teachings that needs by their students. In this second one, also in the background of the study, in this present times, we know as what we are doing right now, teaching strategy basically are very impactful, very beneficial for succeeding the learners in the gaining the learning objective or main subject in the curriculum or by the government that should be implemented by teachers at schools. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, of course, in these regulations, government needs to the teachers to make us a good concept through the regulations in the curriculum offered here. Especially in the example, or for instance, English is taught and learned in primary schools. So there's how to say this, the development era of teaching and learning process in the classroom. Besides talking about the concept, but there is also the curriculum offered by the government in Indonesia that English should be taught. Why English should be taught in the learners or the young learners of the primary schools? Because in the primary school, English is the basic foundation to upcoming to the senior or even the SMK before that. But fortunately, I emphasize once again here, English is taught in the learn of primary school has evolved recently. This is the real one, the real fact. English right now, especially the curriculum Merdeka, has changed totally. English as an optional subject atau bahasa Indonesia sekarang, bahasa Inggris di tengah-tengah peradaban kurikulum yang ada, spesialnya di kurikulum Merdeka bahwa Inggris itu adalah sebagai mata pelajaran yang tidak wajib untuk dilakukan oleh guru. So it is an optional sebagai pilihan. Next, brother. This is the problems that I need to take part of in here to get the emphasize and also to get the resolve and the solutions about the problems what I am experiencing and what the teacher of English subject experiencing here. The first one, as the real fact, the language policy in Indonesia relating to curriculum of teaching and also learning of English in primary school has experienced changes in recent years and now. Jadi Indonesia, khususnya guru bahasa Inggris ini dihadapkan ketidakpastian. For the past period, masa yang lalu bahwa bahasa Inggris itu ada sebagai mata pelajaran yang wajib untuk dipersembahkan kepada siswa. But unfortunately, it has been changed totally. English is only experiences change. Sekarang peradabannya adalah terjadi perubahan yang very significant in the learning and teaching context, especially to young learners. It calls in the kurikulum Merdeka. Masalah ini terjadi pada konteks kurikulum Merdeka yang terdapat dalam status SD sekarang. English language is one of the subject that has changed in the context within the status in the kurikulum in elementary. Sebenarnya kurikulum di dalam Merdeka, kurikulum sekarang itu Indonesia mengangkat bahasa Inggris itu dimulai dari SMP baru ke SMA, tidak didasari dari SD. So it is the problems we have considered, and also we have to know that it is impossible if our students in SMP or even SMA know perfectly about the information about the English subject line before they know this in SD or as the young learners. As we know too, as a teacher should have a good information and a good knowledge to construct the subject or even the lesson should be studied by the learners, especially in SD. English should be taught in SD, so there will be continued in SMP and also SMA to get fully information to get a full understanding about English lessons in the previous or in the next one. Next also, it is the resources from Kemendikbud 2022 yang saya ambil dalam salah satu jurnal yang telah dikaji oleh Damayanti di tahun 2023. So it is the newest one era that I got information on it. And then the second one, ternyata problem sendiri itu berkaitan tentang language policy yang terjadi di kurikulum Merdeka. Ternyata the implementations of Merdeka kurikulum atau kurikulum Merdeka yang ditemui di sekolah di encounter schools in implementing program is the availability of resources. Saya di sini menekankan bahwa ketika tidak hanya berbicara tentang language policy saja. Ternyata terdapat di sini adalah resources most private school in Indonesia, including English, their curriculum do not have appropriate. Jadi kebanyakan di SD sekitar, kalau saya tidak salah baca referensi, sekitar 50-60% in Indonesia SD itu tidak memiliki good resources. Good resources here it means that fasilitas, sarana prasarana atau sarpras to encounter kurikulum Merdeka itself, untuk memasukkan kurikulum Merdeka dalam bahasa Inggris itu tidak difasilitasi dengan baik peralatan maupun sarana prasarana, sehingga the implementation of Merdeka kurikulum is not running well for this time. This is the problems that I always got with myself from any teachers who teach English in young learners. So therefore, by this moment, we can say that the implementations of kurikulum Merdeka in SD is not sufficient teaching. Jadi, pengimplementasian kurikulum Merdeka ataupun dalam artian ini pengajaran bahasa Inggris tidaklah sufficient, tidaklah begitu sempurna, tidak begitu berjalan dengan baik meski terdapat kurikulum Merdeka, namun is not supported well by the resources and also the facilities given or constructed by our government should be. Next, brother. Oke, teman-teman, di sini saya memakai ada namanya research gap. Research gap, there are a lot of theories talking about research gap here. Ada menurut buku yang saya baca, berbagai sumber menyatakan bahwa khususnya yang saya temui dalam jurnal ini, ada research gap itu adalah antara teori dengan empirics. Empirical and also theory, it should not be balanced at times. Jadi kenyataan di lapangan dengan teori itu kadang sudah tidak relevan lagi. Seperti halnya mengatakan bahwa di Sidamayanti, salah satu jurnal saya ambil mengatakan di dalam Indonesia, bahasa Jerman, bahasa Jepang, dan bahasa Inggris dikenal sebagai foreign language ataupun international language that should be taught for Indonesian learners. Tapi itu di-deny. Apa ya di-deny bahasa Indonesia? Disangkal oleh kenyataan yang ada. Di Indonesia, khususnya di SD, bahasa Inggris itu itu tidak difasilitasi dengan sources yang baik dan fasilitas sarana prasarana, sehingga dia bertabrakan dengan teori dan juga empiris. Empiris adalah kenyataan di lapangan secara bahasa sederhananya. Empirical situations. Yang kedua, saya mengambil research gap ini ternyata yang saya lihat juga berkaitan teori dengan versus teorinya. Ternyata juga teori dengan teori ini banyak yang tidak relevan. Kita lihat ketika the strategy of teaching were the process option to provide learning materials. Dikatakan salah satu teori dari Colombo 2012 menyatakan teaching strategi ini adalah sebuah pendekatan yang tentunya menyediakan learning materials to the learners in particular. Harus ada material-material pembelajarannya. Kemungkinan besar kalau kita contohnya sekarang adalah seperti digitalization, sophisticated teknologi yang mendukung untuk bagaimana to ease the students get the information of the teaching and learning process itself while they are in the classes. Ini yang pertama. Namun saya menyatakan di sini emphasize unluckily, malahnya most primary school in Indonesia that include English in their curriculum do not have appropriate and sufficient teaching. Jadi teori yang pertama dari Colombo tidak disupport dengan teori Sinalampi. Mereka saling bertabrakan. Jadi ini tidak bisa dijadikan asumsi menjadi satu patokan bahwa teori itu harus dilandaskan dalam setiap penulisan. Sehingga research gap yang saya ambil hak dua, teori versus empiris, kenyataan teori tidak berdasarkan dari di lapangan yang ada. Baru teori yang pertama ternyata juga bertabrakan dengan teori yang ada. Next yang ketiga, saya juga pakai di research gap ketiga belum ada berarti. Oke, ini dulu berarti. Nggak saya masukkan yang ketiga. Nah, yang keempat berbicara tentang research novelty. Research novelty here, novelty adalah keterbaruan yang bisa memasukkan ide dan gagasan kita untuk menyertakan situasi yang ada. Research novelty, what are the novelties here? Sebenarnya banyak, saya ringkas saja. Yang pertama objeknya. Kalau di penelitian-penelitian sebelumnya, most previous studies focus on both investigation. Kalau di sebelumnya, di dalam penelitian yang dilakukan banyak para peneliti, banyak para akademisi, mereka sekaligus they do both investigations and also like belief and strategy. Mereka dua menginvestigasinya, ada strategi dan juga the list of teachers in teaching English to young learners. Ada dua yang mereka ambil, ada kepercayaan dan juga strategi yang mereka lakukan penelitian kepada guru-guru SD yang mengajarkan bahasa Inggris di sekolah. Tapi saya, I'm myself here, standing here only to investigate, only focus one. It is called about the strategy itself, not this one. Itu yang pertama, research novelty saya. Saya buat dari dua investigation menjadi satu. Karena fokus saya adalah mencari strategi bagaimana how the teachers, especially who teach English subject, should have a good and specific or even transparent strategy in teaching English. Because teaching English in this era, in Curriculum Merdeka, it's only optional subject. So they need a good strategy on it. Yang kedua, research novelty saya adalah location, tempat pelaksanaan untuk penelitiannya. Kalau yang kemarin ataupun penelitian-penelitian sebelumnya kebanyakan investigations about belief and teaching strategy in teaching to young learners dilakukan di Jawa. But here I will try to do this research in Sumatera Utara. But unfortunately, I'm still considering whether it is in Medan or it is in Pematang Siantar. But I've already got the information by using the purposive sampling, and I also have a small interview with the teacher in Medan who is teaching English subject in their schools. Namely, sister kakaknya Kak Nima. Saya sudah lakukan investigasi small interview. So therefore, my novelty about this object and also the location. And the third one, it is the method that I have to share with you. In the previous relevant study called Strategi Implemented in Teaching English to Young Learners in Primary School from Wulandari, ini penelitian sebelumnya, bahwa dia menggunakan descriptive research. By the way, descriptive research, especially in method of research like qualitative, especially classified into 4 numbers. The first one is phenomenology. methodological, descriptive, and the last one, I forgot about this. But I got the information there are four. So here it is focused on descriptive. Dia hanya fokusnya menggambarkan. He describes or she describes about the situations, about the experiences of teacher who is teaching about English in Java without taking part or taking seriousness on the issue, the problems. But here I use the phenomenon atau the phenomenological methodology. Jadi saya dapat membawa pembaharuan as my research novelty is about phenomena. Karena ini it is not only about the issue, but it has been the phenomena. Mengapa? Why I say it is about phenomena? Karena in the global context, it is encountered in the national curriculum. Indonesia stated in curriculum Merdeka, English is an optional subject. If it is only an issue, we can say that the issue only fasilitasi di daerah as a rural area do not have a sufficient teaching facilities. It's okay, but it has been globally, so I confirm it is about the phenomena. I just want to explore much about what are the issues and also fenomena apa saja yang tengah terjadi dalam industri pendidikan khususnya di wilayah di lingkup SD kita. Sehingga I'm not only descriptive research but also put the phenomenon research here. To investigate, to explore, to encounter, and to figure out the issue and give the solutions later after knowing what are the problems especially in teaching English to young learners and the subject of English. I think that's all I can say about this. Ada berapa lagi? Okay, this one, fine. The fifth one. The objective of the study. The objective of the study is to find out what kind of best strategy. Jadi tujuan dari exploring of Indonesian young teaching strategy in teaching English to young learners yang pertama adalah untuk mengetahui jenis-jenis strategi apa sebenarnya yang dipakai oleh guru SD di salah satu lokasi nanti saya akan lakukan. Lalu bagaimana cara dia mengimplementasikannya secara mendalam. Jadi pertama adalah find out, and then to know deeply the process about the implementation and why the implementation should be done by the teachers, especially use 1, 2, or 3 strategies that he or she considered it becomes the basic or even the best strategy in teaching English to young learners. The risk lessons here, I classify or I formulate 3. It is considered or it is recommended by my supervisor, my advisor, Mr. Professor Didik. It is what strategy are implemented, apa saja jenis-jenis yang diimplementasikan. And then the second one, how are the strategy, bagaimana proses strategi itu berlangsung dan diimplementasikan. And then the third one, why are the strategy implemented? Apa sebenarnya alasan? What are the reasons for the English teachers implement the teaching learning strategy that she or he will be doing in the classroom? Next slide. Ladies and gentlemen, especially there are a lot of theories connected with teaching strategy, especially in teaching English to young learners. But here, I just got one because it has been accumulated a lot of numbers of teaching strategy from the first one up to the 21. Jadi ada banyak yang berbicara tentang teaching strategy, tapi saya formulasikan yang paling terbanyaknya so that it can encounter and it can accumulate. Ini bisa menjadi akomodasi bagi saya nanti untuk memfasilitasi diri saya as a research to find what are the strategy that always used, dominantly used, that always encountered by the teaching and learning process. Ada yang active learning, clever use in the classroom up to the writing assignments. Hopefully, by mentioning this strategy from Methodology 2014 in teaching strategy, I will be able to find out the teaching strategy that implemented by teacher in North Sumatra, especially in Medan or Kalimantan Center. Because by having a lot of number here, I believe 100% there should be the strategy used by Indonesian FL teacher in teaching English to young learners. This is my consideration to choose this strategy or even to choose this method. Next slide. I think that's all I can share. I also share about my thesis proposal, especially talking about exploring English in EFL, teaching English to teach English by using a lot of strategy. Hopefully, this is the basic foundation for me to implement about what are the issue and also to get a lot of information much about this. And then this is what I have been discussing. And this is my finally about my thesis proposal. I haven't got any information anymore about the next page or what it is. I just finished here. I think that's all I can share about you and about me about these presentations. What I have been doing, this is my effort, and if I am mistaken, I have a lot of imperfect presentation. I'm so sorry. I just need you to give the best advice, your correct assumptions to build my presentations connectively and self-definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the explanation. So we can conclude that this title is really interesting because, yeah, as you know that based on interaction, based on the research, based on the background, that Mr. Azril announced English is important for Indonesian students. As we know, here the fact is every job need public desk, even government employee we need to have English ability. So that's why English is important. It's also already applied in French, Russia, like in the elementary school, they even learn more than English. They learn Chinese, Germany, French, and anything else. So this could be a new novelty that we can reach in the future, and hopefully this research could be our new development by Mr. Azril, hopefully. So we open a suggestion section. So for you guys who has a suggestion for this title, can go on.
Yes, thank you.
Any suggestion?
I invite you, friends, to consider this one is become powerful, become wider, and also broader presentations of the paradigms in the life of right science, paradigm, right science, the center of science. Come on, if you have already advised me to get this, I welcome you already.
To our sister.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Asmawati. I want to ask about this is only about to chapter 1 and chapter 2. So how about the chapter 3 in the English? Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Any other suggestion? Okay, to our sister.
Okay, I just want to clarify about the statement that you have just said that in curriculum Merdeka, English subject is an option, but the fact is contradictory the statement because in curriculum Merdeka, English subject is main subject from grade 1 to grade 6. Because for the optional, it's for the curriculum, the previous curriculum. But in Merdeka curriculum, English subject is not an option.
Okay, any other suggestion? Okay, any other suggestion? No. Okay, this is the last suggestion for me as a director here. So I think his proposal is completely clear for us, but maybe our brother can make a supported latest update on the ground. Like Columbus said, the root of the theory of the background here, but maybe you can update it with or supported latest research. Okay, that's all for me. So, Mr. Azril,
Thank you so much for the first next one is Kak Asma, talking about where is the chapter 3? Is it right? The simple lessons. By the way, I've already finished doing the chapter 3, but unfortunately, I'm not making sure that it has been quite good for me because I haven't got time to consult with my advisor properly. So I want to put here because I think it has been like mine without having a lot of consideration, especially from Professor Didik. So when Professor Didik already put his notion ideas in chapter 3, I will put especially, this is my fairness or operate of making chapter 3 when I am giving you the information without having, I think, the valid sources. I think it is not appropriate to give the information, I think. But in chapter 3, I would like to give you and also what I have been doing in chapter 3. In chapter 3, the first one I also do here, I did interview and also documentations and also the support documentations as my first actions when I do my research. In interview, I classify into two. The first one is the small interview or called by Garel 2021 said that if we are going to have research, make sure that we have semi-structured interview or we consider this as a small interview. I have already made the semi-structured interview like calling or even like phoning or even like sending the message for the teachers who will be my participant, will be my informant, like kakaknya Kak Nikman and her sister is a teacher in SD.
No teacher, headmaster.
Yes, headmaster, and also she told me that she teach English too.
No.
She told me.
Iya, dia ngajar bahasa Inggris itu hanya untuk mengganti.
Yes. Therefore, I just suggest that she teach also
Maybe she has
as
her
a representative teacher. But she also tells me that English as an optional in SD. She just said about me. So therefore, I have already done the semi-instructor interview to fulfill my needs and also to cover my next proposal thesis. And then the documentations that I will be doing for the next agenda is of course by taking a picture, also video, or even like giving some notes in the list of questions to completely understand me and also what my proposal means especially. And then the third one is the supporting documentations. It is not from the teachers I will be getting the information as the informant. Mr. Prof did consider me by advising me also 3 or 4 students will be my informant. The additional informant to support my thesis credentials. Keabsahan dari tesis saya. So it is not only focus of getting information from the teachers, but also for the next additional information 4 students or 3 students. So there should be complete from teachers as the doer or actor in the classroom, and then the receiver information or the lessons in the subjects is the students. So it can be completed. So there will be no question anymore when you are doing the thesis presentations in the times will be coming. Mr. Prof Didik said to me. Okay, and then how do I confirm this? Mr. Didik asked me bagaimana saya untuk dapat melihat strategi ini nantinya ada atau tidaknya adalah by having documentations. I'm not asking what are your strategy. This is not getting information. You just come and then look around and then video or making some like visualizations. By knowing the video results later, you can classify. From the example, the teachers use like tanya jawab. The teachers use like entertainment or even like jokes or even like storytellings. You don't need to put the question to the teacher directly. What is your strategies and how your strategies are? That was or these are very wrong perceptions.
Observation.
Yes, I have to do observe, but I'm not telling them or I'm not telling her or him I am doing. about what I mean in my proposal.
So you are not inside of the class.
I'm inside of the class,
So
but
what you will say to the teacher?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying what are your strategies, sir. No, I just sit and then look around by doing visualization. By knowing the visualization results, I will classify based on the theory that classified 21 strategy. The first one, she or he opened the classroom by asking first, by singing, by joking or entertainment or what it is. If like playing games ada, so it can be encountered resemble with the theories that I have already put. That's
Because of you are in a class, actually the teacher will prepare well because the teacher will assume that you will observe her or him.
Yeah, that's gonna be the problems. But as a researcher, it is not valid or it is invalid if we are asking, so what your strategies in teaching? So it is not recommended.
So we can do it. We just sit down and
Mr. Professor Bidik said that you don't need to tell what your strategy is or what is your strategy meant. No, you just come, look around and doing the visualization. The visualization will describe you, will answer you about what your proposal means here. But you need to limit the theory. What the theory is yours. So by the theories, by the component theories, there should be the teacher's actions become the strategy to fulfill your thesis proposal. That's the teacher's system.
so how many times do you observe this teacher?
Therefore, I've already said to you that the bab 3 in the chapter 3, I haven't got the chance to consult with Mr. Professor Didik. But by the references, by the books in qualitative research, the best one to do the observations is more than 3. It can be 4, it can be 5. But the number of months here should be 2 months or 3 months. But if it comes back how you can accumulate the answer, if the answer is already fulfill your needs as your thesis proposal descriptions, it has been a good one. It depends your needs, sister. But the construct one is look around about the period. So if you would like to do 3, 4, but Mr. Prof Didik said more than 4.
So there is no interview to ask about something about the strategies, only observation.
No, we are not needed to ask what is your strategy. The visualization or the description that we got from the video will be the answer whether the teacher implement or not in the teaching strategy. Therefore, by knowing this, it is our like the foundations of knowing the teaching strategy, whether she or he implement or not. If she implement or he implement like the joking or entertain or game like discussions, it should be answered by the theory. Ada dari 21 komponen yang tersedia. Oke, sudah sister. Oke, ke sister yang ketiga, sister ada lagi.
Yes. So here in your plan, yes, the data collection and 3, the course lead, interview, document, and the last.
Supporting like observations. So there are 4 or 5 ones. I make sure that interview, semester interview, observations, documentation, and also supporting documentation.
Interview with the same teacher that you observe.
Pasti dong.
Yeah. So what the question that you will say to the teacher?
I'm not making the specific questions. I'm just asking them about their like storytelling. I'm not asking about the questions. What is your strategy? No, this is not because the phenomenon descriptive. We are only to describe and how this the teachers will tell us by the description. So, we're not making the questions. If we are making the question, what is your strategy? They will prepare first. My strategy is blah blah blah. So it is not fully about good questions.
So answer in your plan is good, yes. You will make participant here. How
The
many?
numbers,
Yes.
I have already told you that in SD, the teachers of English subject is one only. Hanya satu. If there are two teachers, it is like the additional or the representative, whether the first teacher is getting sick or getting busy or not activities, so the next teacher will complete the class. Itu yang saya dapat. So one informant for students, one teacher for students, like Mr. Profi suggested.
One teacher for students.
So completely.
Ada nggak ngaruhnya itu kalau guru yang kan kita tahu SD nggak punya guru bahasa Inggris? Kalau kamu mengobservasi yang dia bukan guru bahasa Inggris sebetulnya.
So therefore, I've already done the semester. Therefore, are you English teacher or not? If you're not English teacher, this is mine. This is not mine. This is not my needs. I need to change. I'm not asking about she or he is not English teacher. I'm just looking for English teacher who is teaching English in SD. Betul.
Yes, I am. This is the good title, yes, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But I think if you do it in one school, it's what kurang. You can do it in many schools.
Therefore, in my research novelty that like the locations, especially the location always in Java, who has already discussed about the implementations of teaching strategy in teaching English, SD adalah swasta, how to say private SD. Tapi dengan research novelty saya adalah mencarinya di negeri, karena berdasarkan data yang saya dapatkan di negeri banyak facility itu not sufficient, tidak ada, tidak mendukung, tidak terfasilitasi. Kalau di SD saya sudah tanya ke ibu ini juga bahwa mereka setidaknya saat kelasnya sudah ada untuk memfasilitasi teacher and also students to construct the English subject in the classroom. So therefore, I need to teach my research by knowing the novelty in state schools or public schools. So it will be the answer.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So the matter is just a matter of place.
The matter of place, yes. The matter of the number of teachers, yes. The matter of the facilities, yes. So there are a lot of numbers of the issues comes in SD, especially in implementing curriculum Merdeka, especially in English subject. So I focus only public school. Karena saya mengatakan itu juga appropriate facilities is public school, bukan private school. Saya sudah instructor juga ke ibu bikin saya. Oke, yang kedua tadi siapa?
Dia.
Oke. Ya, sisa mengatakan bahwa di SD sudah ada yang mewajibkan bahasa Inggris sebagai mata pelajaran.
In curriculum Merdeka,
Yeah.
English subject is not an optional.
Yeah.
It's a must because karena udah ada gitu ditentukan CP-nya gitu. Fase A itu kelas 1, 2 gitu kan. Jadi memang in curriculum Merdeka, English subject is not an option.
Yes. Therefore, I think the regulations is in for private one. But in public schools, as my instructor interview by Kak Nikma sister and also by my brothers as English teachers, the implementation of curriculum Merdeka only class 1 dan kelas 4, but it is not really the obligations, tidak menjadi kewajiban. They are transition period. Apa ya bahasa Indonesia? Mereka lagi transisi. How to say this?
Jadi masih 1 sama 4.
Yes, in public school. In public school.
Kalau udah tahun ketiga,
Ya.
2021 itu pasti
Swasta.
tahun ketiga.
Swasta kan?
Kan
Yes.
tahun pertama kelas 1 dan
Yeah.
kelas 4. Tahun lalu
Yes.
kelas 2 sama kelas 5. Dan
Yes.
tahun ini udah semua kelas 3 sama kelas 4 udah semua.
Yes. Maka dari itu, my research novelty described I only take place in public school because public schools say that curriculum Merdeka is an optional subject. You can consider to use or to retain or even not implement at all. By the way, implementation of curriculum Merdeka only happened in kelas 1 dan kelas 4. At this present time, it is already the transition period. Dan bahkan saat ini adalah zamannya transisi bagi mereka untuk mengimplementasinya. Therefore, I think this is the suitable for me to get various informations, to put my research in the subject of English teacher, especially who is teaching English to young learners in the public primary schools. I think my answer is
Makanya teman saya tidak bisa bisa bahasa Inggris karena di negeri itu tidak ada wajib bahasa Inggris. Dia jadi pelajarannya nggak cuma bahasa Inggris, yang pelajaran lain.
Ya, berarti itu nggak bisa dibilang dia menerapkan kurikulum merdeka, karena kalau di kurikulum merdeka jelas siapa yang pembelajarannya kelas 1, kelas 2 ini, 3, 4 ini gitu. Berarti
kurikulum merdeka secara sadarnya sudah diajarkan di public primary schools, namun adalah transisentarian. Learning objective dari kurikulum merdeka ini pasti ada dilaksanakan oleh setiap guru yang ada di public primary schools. Namun isu di dalam public primary schools terhadap implementasi kurikulum merdeka hanyalah fasilitas dan sourcesnya. Sehingga dengan minimnya fasilitas dan sources dalam pengajaran, guru harus memiliki strategi kuat yang mendorong lahirnya untuk pencapaian pembelajaran bahasa Inggris by the implementation of kurikulum merdeka itu sendiri. Jadi ini tidak hanya berbicara sebatas implementasi kurikulum saja, kan saya garis bawahi, tapi juga berbasis terhadap permasalahan fasilitas dan sources yang belum memadai untuk mengedepankan kurikulum merdeka di zaman transisi mereka sekarang. Sudah dilakukan, saya sudah telepon sebesar interview. Mereka sudah memakai kurikulum merdeka belajar di kelas 1 sampai kelas 4, tapi dalam deskripsinya adalah transisi. Mereka sudah punya learning objective, tapi pemakaiannya adalah belum dikatakan secara 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 belum. Tetapi kelas mereka pilih adalah kelas 1 sampai kelas 4 sesuai dengan instruksi dari pemerintah dalam menggunakan kurikulum merdeka di sini.
tapi kalau sesuai instruksi dari pemerintah, saya tahu itu yang pertama kemarin tahun 2022 kelas 1 dan kelas 4, terus 2023 kelas 2 kelas 5. Nah itu 2024. Jadi terakhir kelas 3 dan 6 berarti semuanya sudah kalau instruksi dari pemerintah.
Ya, kembali lagi, instruksi pemerintah adalah salah satu jembatan untuk bagaimana pengaplikasian di lapangan. Nyatanya, for the real fact, di lapangan berbeda. Implementasi dengan di lapangan ini jauh berbeda. Adanya kontras yang ada. Kalau di SD yang kakaknya Kak Hikmah, ini pengimplementasiannya adalah mereka di tahun ini 2024 kelas 1 dan kelas 4, dan nanti kurikulum merdeka ini adalah berakhir sebelum nantinya mungkin ada kurikulum yang lain adalah di 2026. Sehingga hal inilah yang memastikan saya untuk bisa tidak implementasi kurikulum merdeka ini English as the optional subject, ya English sebagai optional subject di sekolah mereka. Namun pengimplementasian itu harus berdasarkan dari kebijakan pemerintah yang menginstruksikan dengan learning objectives harus ada dalam pencapaian belajar siswa.
Sama itu seperti ini, kurikulum merdeka sudah keluar, tapi tidak semua sekolah yang mengaplikasikannya. Seperti kami Mandua duluan mengaplikasikannya di kelas 1. Nah kami setahun lebih lama daripada mereka. Nah di SD seperti itu peraturan pemerintah memang di tahun ini udah penuh sampai kelas 6. Tapi tidak semua sekolah SD yang mengaplikasikan semua yang diberikan pemerintah yang peraturan itu, tergantung fasilitas yang mereka punya dan SDM yang ada di dalam sekolah.
Berarti karena itu kan tergantung sekolahnya kan.
Tergantung
Karena regulasi dari pemerintah sudah
regulasinya.
Regulasinya tuh. Berarti kita sebaiknya di tesis kita jangan kita bilang opsional karena nggak semuanya opsional gitu loh. Karena nggak di semua sekolah opsional.
Kalau kita bilang tidak opsional, tetapi maka saya bilang beberapa tesis telah mengatakan bahwa itu opsional yang dilakukan dalam research dan juga disupport dari Kemendikbud. Jadi saya nggak mengatakan di 2023. Jadi kan masih terupdate terbaru yang mengatakan bahwa opsional sebagai subjeknya. Kalau kita katakan tidak opsional, tetapi ada research yang mengatakan sangat berbeda dong. Ini hanya sebatas anggapan kita, diskusi kita tidak ada datanya. Tetapi data yang saya terima melalui Kemendikbud 2022 yang dikaji oleh Sidamayanti dalam tesisnya mengatakan opsional.
Ya benar sih kalau 2022 kelas 1 dan kelas 4 itu benar gitu. Jadi karena yang 2024 jadi semuanya sudah sebenarnya.
Gini, dia peralihan kurikulum ke-13 dengan kurikulum merdeka itu terjadi di 2022 dan penerapan itu bertahap dan hanya sekolah pilot project yang mengaplikasikan kurikulum merdeka itu di tahun pertama 2020 itu. Biasanya itu sekolah-sekolah dengan yang baik, misalnya SDM-nya bagus, sekolahnya bagus, sekolahnya bagus. Itu adalah namanya pilot project. Makanya pengaplikasiannya itu kelas 1 dan kelas 4. Kelas 1 dipilih untuk anak sekolah rendah, kelas 4 sekolah kelas tinggi gitu. Dan tahapan kedua barulah main kelas 2, kelas 5. Tahapan ketiga baru menurun. Dan aturan pemerintah terkait dengan aplikasi kurikulum merdeka ini memang mewajibkan seluruh sekolah di tahun pelajaran 2025-2026 harus semua sekolah apapun latar belakang sekolahnya, baik di kota ataupun di rural area, itu harus wajib melaksanakan mengimplementasikan kurikulum merdeka. Makanya tahapannya itu berbeda-beda setiap sekolah.
Makanya itu saya bilang, instruksi dari pemerintah memang sudah dikeluarkan, tapi situasi yang di lapangan yang mengkontraskannya. Kan tadi saya tegaskan bahwa beberapa sekolah yang sudah saya lakukan semisal interview adalah mereka masa transition period, itu yang perlu digarisbawahi. Mereka mengatakan masih optional subject yang ada sekarang.
Ya kan itu 2022 benar sih.
2022. Adik,
That's okay. I think it's enough for the first speaker, so we're going to the second speaker, so we don't spend much time. Thank you very much for all the ideas that they applies to the first speaker. Thank you very much for the great explanation. Okay, we can switch to the second speaker. And this one. Thank you so much. So we're going to the second speaker, your two sister Aisha Fahiramari, her title, The Utilization of ChatGPT in Writing, University Student Experiences. Okay, so our second speaker, Sister Aisha, take your time.
Thank you, Munaka. So I would like to present my first proposal. It's about utilization of ChatGPT in writing, university student experience. So here, this study focused on the integration of technology in education, particularly the use of artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT to enhance students' writing abilities. And the researchers observed that many students struggle to utilize smartphone and online resources effectively for educational purposes, often limiting their use to social media. This lack of engagement in educational tools can hinder their academic performance, especially in writing. So here, I found that three problems. The first is ineffective use of technology. The second, challenges in writing skills, and the third, limited awareness of educational tools. The first one, many students, including the university level, struggle to utilize smartphone and online resources effectively for educational purposes. And the second is challenges in writing skills. Here, students frequently face difficulties in developing their writing skills, which are essential for effective communication. And the last is limited awareness of educational tools. Here, students, there is a general lack of awareness among students about the potential benefit of using AI tools like ChatGPT to enhance their writing abilities. Okay, from here are the research problem. The first one is how are all students' experience in using ChatGPT in writing, and the second, what are the advantages and disadvantages of ChatGPT in helping students on writing. the objective of study, the first one, to explore how these AI tools, ChatGPT, can assist students to improving their writing skills. This study also emphasizes the importance of student perceptions regarding the use of digital technology in learning, especially in writing. And the second one is to identify the perceived benefits and challenges of using ChatGPT in business writing. So here the literature review. The first one is about writing. So writing is a way for someone to express thought and feeling in a very simple language that is accessible to everyone. And ChatGPT is a chatbot that can understand the conversation and generate text that is immediately correct and human. So here, it's the methodology. The first one is research approach. I will use qualitative approach, and the research subjects are new students at Winsu who have experience in using ChatGPT. And the data collection, there are two. The first open-ended questionnaires, and the second semi-structured interview.
Okay, that's all the explanation by our sister Aisha. So for you, all the audience who has advice for this title, please speak. Honest desires. Any other question or suggestion or advice?
To speak up, I think we're going to have a license.
Cuma kenapa jadi bisa banyak yang highlight yang membuat Aisyah memilih jadi karena udah ada penelitian
So the question about what is the style and novelty, because there's a lot of research about it. Any question for the browser? Any question? Or this just one question?
Well, this one. Well, now you can.
So start.
So why I chose ChatGPT? At the first, I just use like AI tools, but my advisor suggested me to use ChatGPT.
What is the previous AI used?
General AI tools.
Oh.
Okay.
So it based on your advisor, not from your reasons to choose AI, especially ChatGPT, the utilizations in writing. So you will have an assumptions when you use another AI, there will be a better research because we know fully that ChatGPT has already developed and used for many times by a researcher, especially in writing. The novelty, if you want.
Yes.
Okay.
So, like I said before, I just make AI tools in general, but my advisors understand ChatGPT, and I don't know, like the other study I found they are focused on the FL learning, not
Is it not or any other? Well, it is. This is a suggestion for me as audience also is plus. So ChatGPT is general. It's really general. So the research problem is to know the student experience and also the advantages and disadvantages. So it's so general that I think I'm agree with this system data because it's already researched. There's a lot of research about this, what is disadvantages and the advantages. So maybe you can make the research problem more specific, then it can change the title. So maybe like this. ChatGPT, I use ChatGPT for many from this platform Logic. I use this and I found so many misunderstanding from ChatGPT if our prompt is not that specific. So ChatGPT will use it like not specific. For example, like is this an error in the background of society? So we talk about education, but there's also gaming here, right? So it's something that ChatGPT generally prompted for every subject if we not use the right prompt. So how if the research problems change into how to make the right prompt to support the writing skills of the students, stuff like that, and yeah, maybe you can find for the update of this research. That's all. To Mr. Sister
Just saja, we still want to talk about writing. Maybe you can be specific about what writing. Writing journal, writing academic writing. Karena writing kan general, udah banyak juga isi penelitian tentang ChatGPT in writing.
Writing that usually for the school.
Ini kan buat university student, academic writing.
This is only my opinion. When we are talking about research problem, in number two, what are the advantages and disadvantages of ChatGPT in helping the adult student writing? In internet, will be answered. Kayaknya nomor 2 gampang banget. Advantage and disadvantage. If we consider the internet, of course, there will be the answer. Kalau utilization of ChatGPT in writing, apa dari utilisasinya ini? Utilization kan pemanfaatannya kan? Apa yang maksudnya pemanfaatan itu? Ada indikator lain tidak selain kata advantage sama disadvantage? Kalau kita berbicara tentang advantage, kita lihat di internet sudah kami jawab.
Iya.
It is like totally general.
Yes.
Benar tidak? Kalau advantage di internet sudah kami jawab. Jadi their title-nya itu there will be no novelty. Kata utilization pemanfaatannya coba tarik benang merahnya ke specific one sehingga kalau orang lihat research problem ini, oh yang kurang ya. Kalau itu kayaknya di internet juga ada.
Maybe you can make what the student tell us the
Or also, I have a suggestion. Or also, you can change the subject to the lecture. How the lecture analyze students that writing using ChatGPT. That could be one of novelty because
there will be results.
Yeah, the lecture will I can look at this writing and I know this ChatGPT because of this. It's more specific. Change the subject. Okay. It's so clear. Okay, any other suggestion or question?
Yes.
Any other? No? Okay, so if it's enough, thank you for the second speaker, Sister Aisha. So the conclusion is maybe Sister Aisha can make this topic more specific. Okay, that's all from the conclusion from all of audience here. And we're going to the end of the presentation today. Thank you very much. Please give applause for. Okay, thank you very much for all of the audience who have attended this weekly presentation. Today here in our room, there's a lot of people here. Thank you very much for taking much attention on it. So this is the end of our weekly meeting today. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.